Okay, so welcome to your first lecture for DM 121. Today we're going to look back at Flexbox and we're going to learn about responsive design, right? So agenda, first thing we're going to understand is what is responsive design, and then we're going to just do a quick revision of what is Flexbox and its container properties. It's just that, and then we're going to move on to item properties, and that is where we can where we actually learn how to make responsive design. All right, and then we're going to move into something called media queries. Okay. All right. So first of all, let us understand what responsive web design means, okay? So it means that the design of the website is responsive to the size of the screen that it is being viewed in, okay? So basically we have a website here, right? So based on the size of the screen, it just, it's just responding based on that, right? So this is called being responsive. All right, it just responds to what size the screen is, and based on that, it will show you something, or uh, yeah. But it just responds to the size of the screen. All right. Now, sites can be responsive in different ways. Okay, so first is just responsive. Responsive site basically means like the content is responsive by maintaining the same proportion sizes regardless of the screen size, which means that you can have a website that is responsive, yes, but shrinking it down does not change the proportion and the layout of anything. Even if it's like super big or super small, the website layout is exactly the same. Okay, it just it's just a smaller or a bigger screen. That's basically it. So for example, we have our Apple website here. Right now, this is not exactly what I want to show you, but I am looking at a screen. My screen size is this much, right? So if I shrink it down here, it's just responsive. Did anything change size wise? No, right? Shrink it down even more. Did anything change size wise? Yes, a couple of things changed, but we're just looking at these parts over here. All right. And then is anything changing? Not really. So this is what is responsive. Okay. This is just like however large the screen or however small the screen, it's just the proportion sizes are pretty much the same. It's just displayed. It just reacts, right? Um, then we have something called adaptive content. Okay, so what happens with adaptive design is that the content adapts in design based on the screen sizes. All right, so let's take for example, same here with Apple. Look at the menu. All right, yeah, it's responsive, but now that I make it into like a certain size, it will just change. So it adapts to a different design. Okay, it just adapts to a different design. Now it becomes like this. Whereas if you make it bigger, it just goes back to that, right? So this is a desktop size. This is probably like a tablet size or something like that. And then you will have your mobile side, right? So that another adaptive design feature is, let's say we have these 4 pictures here, right? Side by side, they're all laid out. So what happens as you make it smaller is they start to stack on top of one another, right? It adapts to a different screen size. If it was only responsive, the 4 pictures would still be, side by side. It would just be smaller. However, we don't want it to be smaller. We want it to be displayed properly. So, it adapts to a new design. All right. So taking from that, the ideal thing should be a combination design in which a website is responsive to the screen sizes, but it also adapts to the device we are using, right? So again, going back to that website, you might be on a laptop, your screen might be this size, something like that, whereas my screen might be that size. So it just responds automatically, right? But it also needs to adapt. What if you want to look at the Apple website from your phone? This is basically how it would look, right? So that is what responsive design means. Okay, it just responds in general terms. Okay, that's basically what we're looking for. Yeah, I broke it down into parts, but if someone says responsive design, that is what it means. Okay, in general. Any questions?
No questions.
Okay. All right. So let's move back into Flexbox. Okay. Now, yeah, you learned how to do Flexbox. You learned how to put things here and there. But the beauty of Flexbox is that is the way to make responsive design. Okay. You didn't just learn to put things left and right. You actually learn how to make a responsive site in a certain way. Yeah, you have to learn a little bit more, but you know, you can. Flexbox is the way to go. If you had to do float and clear, then you would have to just make a new site. With Flexbox, things just start to adjust. That is why it's called, Flexbox stands for flexible box model. It's flexible, right? It is flexible to any screen size, you know, any sort of device, right? Okay, so we know it's a layout model, and it has powerful distribution and alignment capabilities to arrange items within the website. And the main thing you need to do is, if the item is in the container and you want to use a Flexbox, you have to do display flex in the beginning, and that's how, display flex is basically the key, or the activate button, or whatever you want to call it, right? So you cannot just start putting in display flex and sorry, without display flex, you can't just start putting in all of the other components of Flexbox, right? So this is the main component, this is the main key. You have to insert the key before you do anything else. All right. So container properties. We know about this. If you did the Flexbox Froggy project, you pretty much did all of these things. So let's go over a couple of them. All right. So justify content is used to lay out items on the main axis. See how I am not writing horizontal axis. I'm writing main axis. So we'll come to that, but just understand it's used to lay out items on the main axis. Okay, and then it has other properties within it: flex start, flex end, center, space between, and space around. I feel like you should know about it. Nowadays they have made more advancements to these commands, so you don't even need to type in flex. You can just do start and end. Okay. So if you don't want to type in flex, you don't have to anymore. All right. Then we have align items. Align items are used to lay out items on the cross axis, right? And it has certain properties: flex start, flex end, center, and instead of what we had here, space between and space around, we have stretch, and then we have baseline. And so let me just do a quick explanation of what baseline means, okay? Let me see, how do you do this? Okay. Okay. So let's say you have, the best way to see how baseline works is, you have to have like two different sizes of text or two different components or something like that, right? Um, so let's say I have a, I have my name here, all right? So this is its baseline. Now, if I want to, use a, if I usually use like the same font, it would stay on the same baseline. However, if you decide to use like a larger font, the baseline might move. Okay, so baseline might be here. Now, if you do align items and baseline, then what's going to happen is this third component is just going to sort of match up with this one. So basically, it would be on the same line. Everything becomes on the same line. All right, so that is what baseline means. And then stretch is just basically stretching out all of the content or whatever space it can utilize. All right, it's just stretched out. Any questions about baseline? Yes, no?
I mean, Paras, is Rodrigo here. I mean, my question is, it's like, okay, I understand, the word stretch and then baseline, but like how to put the code together? It's like my biggest like issue. Like,
oh yeah, no, we'll come to that.
Okay,
I'm
okay,
just doing a sort of a revision here,
No,
and
okay,
then
gotcha.
we'll sort of learn how to do all of those things.
Okay, gotcha. I'm sorry for interrupt you. Okay,
No,
thank
that's
you.
fine. That's fine. So if I'm sort of understanding that people are okay with what I'm saying over here. Okay, so align items. Now we have flex direction. All right. Flex direction is used to define the placement of the content, right? And we know its properties. It has a row reverse, column, and column reverse. All right. So now flex direction is extremely important to understand. All right. Let me open up something. Actually, not this one. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So we have this data here, right? Oops. Too big. Oh, no, it's too small. Okay, we have this data here. So we all know what rows and columns are, but just a quick revision. This is a row. When it goes from left to right, it is a row. And then if it goes from top to bottom, it becomes a column, right? So top to bottom becomes a column. Now, what you need to understand is you can lay out things in different ways, right? So if you lay out things in row format, so let's say you have boxes, right? You have a couple of boxes. If you lay them out in row format, they will go from left to right. Okay. Which means that this part is the main axis. Okay. And then going from top to bottom is the cross axis. Okay. So that is what we were talking about when, where is it? When we were doing justify content. So by default, the justify content is set to row, okay? Which means that is why it just works horizontally. right? So because the main axis is horizontal, right? And then the cross axis is vertical. What you need to understand here is if you do we have our box here, right? If you do flex direction column, your boxes are not going to go from left to right, but they're instead going to go to from top to bottom. Okay, now what happens in this scenario is that the roles of justify content and align items get reversed. Okay, so if I want to put this column of boxes to this side, what would I type in? Anybody? Hello?
Thank you. So, so basically you want the row to be all the at the end.
Yeah, I want it to be at the end. So what would I type in? Remember, the roles are reversed, okay? Okay, I don't hear anybody saying anything. So what this in this scenario, what you would do is instead of justify content, you would do align items, and then it would be flex end, or at the end part. It would come to the end part, all right? Because what happens now is that because it is a column, this is the cross axis now. And then this is the main axis. Okay, when it is a row format, this is the main axis, and then this is the cross axis. But if you do column format, it becomes exactly the opposite. All right, which means you have to put in sort of opposite commands, right? So as I wrote down here, um, you know, when flex direction is set to row, the main axis is horizontal and the cross axis is vertical, right? But when the flex direction is set to column, the main axis is vertical and the cross axis is horizontal. So it just makes a switch. Okay, so that is why I did not write over here horizontal and vertical, because it doesn't make sense. You have to sort of understand which part becomes the horizontal. You know, it switches roles, right? So that is what flex direction means, and we'll come to understand that pretty soon. Okay. Uh, okay. Moving on. Flex wrap. Right? So the flex wrap property sets whether we choose to force an item onto one line, which is no wrap, or you can jump into the next line or next multiple lines. All right. So basically, what we have is, you know, if we have like a 1,000 pixel by 1,000 pixel box, right? And then we you know, we have like certain number of boxes. I am very poor at math, so don't judge me. What so let's say I have, so okay, it's just better to do it this way. Okay, so I have a 1,000 pixel by 1,000 pixel. Okay, so 1,000 pixel by 1,000 pixel box here, right? Now let's say I have 11 boxes, okay, and all of those 11 boxes are 100 by 100 pixels. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we have 10 and then we have 11, right? So we know for sure that the 11th one does not fit in here. But if you do just no wrap, what's going to happen is it's going to squish it in. Okay, it will force the 11th box to be in this place. We have all the space here, but if you don't do the wrap format, then what's going to happen is it's just going to just compile everything inside of one line, and this is the one line, right? Same example, if we were to do in column, let's say we have 11 boxes, so it will just squish, and this is a column, right? So it will just squish everything inside of one line. It will fit it. It will alter the design, right? Then it would not become 100 by 100 pixel anymore, because it doesn't fit anymore, right? So it just squishes. Now, if you do the wrap, what's going to happen is the 11th box is like, oh, I don't fit here, so I'll just go to the next line. Okay, is that clear?
Yes.
So
Okay.
basically, the wrap it's gonna make like the original size until you can't fit
Yes.
anymore, and then jump to the next line.
Yes, exactly. So it maintains the original size without, and and if something doesn't fit in, within its boundaries, within the boundaries that it has, it'll just go to the next line. Okay. And we have no wrap, we have wrap, and then we have wrap reverse. So wrap reverse is, what happens is, yeah, it's going to go to the 11th line. The 11th line is going to go here, right? But what if I have, this is like 1, this is 11. If I do wrap reverse, what's going to happen is this is going to become 11 and this is going to become 1. It just switches. All right. To be honest, I don't know when you will use this kind of things. There are certain things that are a bit too much information, but it's just good to know, right? So it just switches over. So that's basically what wrap does. Okay, and by default, flex wrap is set to no wrap. So if you find that things are just getting congested in one line, then your flex wrap is set to no wrap. Okay, so you need to change that command. Okay, and then we have flex flow. Flex flow is just a shorthand for incorporating two properties, flex direction and flex wrap. So what you would do is you would type down, you don't need to type down both of these, right? You don't need to type down flex direction, columns, and then, flex wrap, wrap reverse, whatever. You can just use shorthand. Flex flow is, you can do like, you can give it direction, and then you can say if you want to wrap it or you don't want to wrap it. Okay, pretty standard, nothing complicated here. Okay, any questions so far?
I'm good.
Okay, all right. Let us actually, let me cover. No, I sort of have to show you guys what I'm talking about. 1 minute, okay? Okay. So, excuse me. Now we have flex item properties. Okay. The first thing you need to know is flex basis. Flex basis tells the item how much space the item should take up, right? But to be honest, this is the same thing as width, okay? Flex basis and width are the same thing. Uh, I don't know why they have this option, but they're the same thing. You can just use width, I guess, but I thought I'd talk about it either way. All right, so space can be measured in terms of pixels, percentages, and other forms of measurement, okay? Then we have something called flex grow, all right? Flex grow tells the item to use all of the extra space that is available after the other contents have taken their respective spaces. Again, after explaining all of this, I will come back to what these are, okay? And it also determines the growth rate factor in responsive design, and it is measured in absolute numbers. So absolute numbers are just 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. When it is, what these 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 5 are, it's just at what speed does it grow. Okay, so it's like 1 times speed, 2 times speed, 3 times speed, 4 times speed, 5 times speed, right? That's basically what the number measurement system is, right? We have display flex and flex grow 1, right? And then we have something called flex shrink, basically opposite of flex grow, where it just shrinks at a certain speed, right? So 1 time speed, 2 times speed, 3 times speed, 4 times speed, 5 times speed, and then flex shrink 1, stuff like that. And then we have order, which is used to determine the order of things. Now, if you want to change the order of things, you need to have multiple of them, because you cannot just change the order of one thing. It doesn't matter, right? Okay, so let us look at all of what we talked about here. Okay, let me remove all this crap. So other than the box. Okay. So here is what we're going to learn, okay? So look at the structure of the HTML page. All right, we have body, and then we have div. We have, inside of div, we have, so the class of the div is containers, all right? And that container contains 3 boxes inside of it, okay? Let's just do this. Okay. So this container has 3 boxes inside of this, and they are just labeled boxes 1, 2, and 3, right? Okay, so what we're going to do is, first of all, we're going to just create a background. So for, let's just create it for containers. All right, and first thing I want to do is I want to define what size it is. So I want to take up pretty much the entire space from here to here. So which means I don't have to define that, right? But I want to also take up a lot of space from top to bottom. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do height and then 1000 pixels. Okay, then what I want to do is I want to change the background color so that we see things around us. All right, so there we go. So we pretty much used up all of the space here, and then this is 1000 pixels from top to bottom. It's 1000 pixels. Okay, and then what do I want to do? Hold on. Okay. Okay, so before we do anything, let's look at this part over here, right? So we have 3 boxes and they are all in one class. It's just box, right? So what we can do is we can do box, and I just want to define a shape for you guys, all right? You know, so the background color will be black, right? And then if I do display flex, oh, okay. So I want to put in a margin of 1%. 1% should be fine. Okay, so 1% display flex, and let's do gray. Yeah, much better. Okay, and then flex flow, I want to work with row format, and no wrap is fine. Okay, so that didn't change anything. Okay. And I want to do height of padding of 25 pixels. Yep, it's fine. Padding inside, right? Okay. All right. So let's look at a couple of these. No, actually, let's define the height also. Height can be around 125 pixels. Okay, so 125 pixels. No, let's do small. Nah, it's fine. All right, so let's look at what we just did here. Okay, so if I don't do display flex, it just stacks up on top of one another. You know, every website does that. It's just what its nature is, right? So I want to start using display flex now. This container has 3 elements inside of it. Why am I putting display flex on the container, and why am I putting it here? It's because the container is the one that has the elements. It's not the box part, right? So that is why if I want to fiddle around with these boxes, I have to work with this part, because this is the part that holds all of these ones over here, right? So display flex, and then should work out like that, right? And then, like I was saying earlier, flex flow, I want it in row format, and then no wrap. Okay, so right now it doesn't change anything because it's already in row format, and there is enough space to go around that we can just pretty much utilize whatever we want. Okay. Now, what if I do column and no ref? That's fine. So now the boxes just stack on top of one another, right? Why did this take up all of the space? It's because I haven't defined the width. That's why it just takes up all of the space. If I define the width, if I say, okay, no, if I want the width to be 125 pixels too, what's going to happen is it's going to change, right? But for now, let's just leave it. No, let's actually just leave it like this. So that is what happens, right? If I do column reverse, what's going to happen is box 3 is going to come in the top. Oh, and it also goes down to the bottom. So it just switches, right? So box 3 is up here, and then up here, and up here. All right. But let's leave it at the standard row, no wrap. Okay. So we have 3 boxes here. Let's start with justify content. Okay. So right now, because it is a row in row format, the main axis is this part, right? Main axis is this part, and then the cross axis is this part, main cross, right? So which means if I want to put this at the center, what I need to do is center on the top over here. If I want to put it over here, if I want to put it over here, you know, box like this, what I have to do is I have to do justify content and then center, right? And then it would put it right down there. Let's remove that. 1 minute, okay, Rosie? Okay. Now, if I want to put these 3 boxes, which is in row format, over here in this part, which means I want boxes here, here, and here, then what I would do is, oops, I would do align items, and then I would do center. And that would bring it right here. Okay, now if I want to put it in the middle, I would do justify content and then center. And then they just come in the center. So it's just in the center of everything. All right, so let's just remove that. Rosie, what's your question? Rosie, did you have a question? Where'd you go? All right, I guess not.
You asking me or
No, I'm asking Rosangilis. Anyways, okay. So when we have it in row format like that, then this becomes the main axis and then the cross axis, right? Now let's put it in column format. Okay. So it would go down here. Now, what if I want the boxes over here like this? What would I do? Somebody? What would I type here?
Align center. Reflex align.
Mm-hmm.
Or
Okay, you answered the question. Why is that the solution?
isn't that like horizontal? I don't know, the x-axis. I'm not sure. I don't want to say something that's not right.
Okay. So in this scenario, this is actually the cross axis.
Okay.
And then this is the main axis. So remember that part where I said when you are working with justify content, it works on the main axis, right? When you are working with align items, it works on the cross axis, right? So it just becomes opposite. So what I would do in this scenario is, just like Rosie said, I would do, in order to bring it here, here, and here, I would do align items center. And then it would come over here, right? If I do justify content, let me something. If I do justify content, it's actually going to go it's going to, like, if this is the mid part, then it's going to go here, here, and here, right? So it just becomes opposite. Okay, so if I do justify content center, that is where it will go. Okay, so that is what main axis and cross axis is. Okay, let's see.
But as for the exercise that you gave us to do for the first class,
Mhm.
that's where I was having an issue. I had justify and align to put the things in the center, but some reason, like the smaller boxes, the gray one was like, it was okay, it was the biggest one. But the other one, I had an issue to put them down, you know? What I ended up doing was adding a padding to all of them.
Oh, okay.
That's how I made it to go down. But with justify content, like it wasn't going down for me. Why is that?
Which part was not going down for you?
Like like the colorful boxes. You know, the gray one was the biggest one, but everything else was like on top. Like it wasn't going down with justify content and align items. I had those both of them in center, and then it wasn't like it was staying up. And I tried everything. I also, something that I noticed that you don't do, I got it from Flexbox Froggy. I put display flex before doing the justify content. Why don't you add display flex?
Where? I did. Here,
Like,
it should be here, display flex.
Okay, I didn't see that.
Without display flex, it's not going to work. So I have to do display flex. Okay, let's look at, let's actually, try to solve it, okay? And I will solve this in one go, okay? Let's understand the scenario over here, okay? So the black part is a box. That is also a box, okay? Inside of the black box, there is the gray box. Inside of the gray box, there is the red box. Inside of the red box, there is the white box. And inside of the white box, there is the blue box.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's pretty simple. So what is the black box? The black box is, if
The
you
body?
understand, it's the HTML. Okay.
Sorry.
The gray box is the body, right? Then we have our outer box, which is the red part. We have our middle box, which is the white part, and then our inner box, which is the blue part. Okay, so all of these can be solved in one go. So let's just do it. So HT, we just need to center each and everything, right? So what we do is we will do
justify content, right?
Yeah, HTML, comma, body, comma, outer box, comma, inner box, I'm sorry, middle box, comma, inner box. Okay, and then I'll do display flex, and then I will do justify content center, align items center. That's it.
Son of a gun.
Way more.
I did each one separately for
Yeah,
each
me too.
box, and that's why I couldn't get it. No
Okay.
kidding.
I did also
So-
separately, but it worked for me.
That's fine. You know, this is just an easy way of explaining it. So you understood. I hope everybody understood what we did here. You know, everything is a box inside of the box. The only thing that does not have anything inside is the blue box. Everything else is inside of a box. It's just layer after layer after layer. Okay. So what we just need to do is we just need to know that, oh, if everything is inside of each other, we just need to combine all of them and just use one command and we're all set, right?
Since
HTML is a box, but which has, so you know, so I said HTML is a box, and inside of HTML there is body. Inside of the body there are these three boxes. So we just center everything.
what I
Okay.
did instead, like since HTML was a box, I was like,
Mhm.
okay, that's gonna be the background. So I added a margin to the body to
Mhm.
center everything, and then I was doing the justify and the align contents for everything else, you know.
Okay. No, you can do that. You can do margin auto, you know, here,
Yeah.
there, whatnot. I think you might be saying it this way.
I did body, margin, left and right auto for the gray one.
Mhm.
And then for the other ones, I did justify content and then
Mhm.
the padding for the
So I think,
gray
to
one.
my understanding, you did it like this. So you did body, you did margin, and then 0, auto, 0, right? That should bring the gray part to the center, right? That should bring the gray part to the center, and then you did the rest of them in Flexbox, right? So it would be outer box, inner box, no, middle box. I mean, you can do it in any middle box, and then inner box. Actually, you don't even need to do inner box because inner box has nothing inside of it. So you would just do display flex, and then do
Justify.
yeah, justify content center, align item center. Oh, wait.
Yeah, there is another one. There is all. There is another class called all. So
All?
for all, yeah, it's
Oh, okay. Is it a
the
class?
you see the first class under there, it says all, outer box, middle box, inner box. Yeah. So I was getting that, but then it wasn't coming down. And inner box, you're missing inner box.
Inner box. But you managed to get it, right?
Yeah, I get it. And then at the end, I couldn't get it down. So what I did, I added padding to all. And I did like,
Oh, okay. I see what you did there. Okay.
yeah, I was doing everything like just to get it right. I was refreshing and refreshing and refreshing. Oh my God, I was going crazy, but I got it right. I'm proud of myself.
Oh, another thing you can do is I think you can just do star. Star means everything, and then I think it will be display flex. Let's see if it works. Okay. Justify content center, align items center.
Oh,
I guess not. You can't do that. Okay, so why? Anyways, so you guys hopefully you understood um, why Flexbox is much preferred than anything else. This you can do, yeah, it works, but you know it's just much easier to just center. If it's a container, you can just use Flexbox and then just whatever the outside container is, just tell it to move the inside container in the middle. That's basically it. Okay. All right. Um. Okay. Well, let me look at where. Flex direction, we covered that. Main axis. Flex wrap, we covered. Um, let's look at flex wrap. Okay. Um, and let's just do row, no wrap. Oops. No wrap. Okay. And for this one, I want to define it a little bit. Okay. So if I do width of 1000 pixels, let's take that same experiment that we did earlier. Okay. Is it border box? Yeah, it should be border box. Okay. Let's not do %. Let's do 2 pixels. 5 pixels. Okay. And we are not going into. Okay. So let's take that same concept earlier. So remember, only the yellow part is the container, okay? The white part, don't get confused by it because it has nothing to do with what I'm trying to teach you here. All right. So if this box here is 100 by 100, and I make 11 boxes, so that's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, 11, 12. All right, so okay. So what's going to happen is, yeah, it's just going to try to squeeze everything in as much as possible. All right. If we do wrap, we will be able to, if the thing is not fitting, it'll just go to the next line. Oops. So it just goes to the next line. Okay. So only 9 boxes can fit here. And then it just, why is this spread out so much? Anyways, if you do wrap, you know, you can only without, so the original size is kept, and then after the original size is kept and then we can't like do anymore, then it just moves on to the next line. All right. What happens if I do this? Why is there such a huge gap? Anyways, same idea with column as well. So, you know, I can only fit so many things here, and then if there's not enough space here, it just moves on to the next line. All right, so that is what flex wrap is. So is that clear to everybody? Sort of, kind of, yes, no, kind of.
Like, what if you're gonna put text around those boxes? How that would gonna work though?
What do you mean text around the box?
Let's imagine that each box is like a picture, and I want to like the text to go around and follow the 2 columns. That's like my questions. Like I understand like when you do like a little b, but like when you put it everything together, it just can't think all that. It's like too
So
much for
you know, over here, like, so this is a div, right? So what happens is, okay, we have, instead of box one, and then I'm not going to give it any height or anything like that. Okay, so just what happens is, oh, hold on. Where the hell did this come from? Bold image. Oh, okay. Oh, that's what. No. Okay, so Rodrigo's question was, okay, this is, he wants to know what we can do with this, right? So H1, say box one, right? And then everybody remembers how to do um, paragraph, paragraph, and then let's just get some lorem ipsum. All right, so this is taking up all of this space. We don't need that much padding. Oh, sorry, no, we actually need the padding. Okay, is this sort of what you're trying to ask, Rodrigo?
I mean, the opposite way. Instead, the text go inside the box. I was thinking like how can I like put like a column of pictures, like two columns of pictures, and have like the writing goes right beside of each box.
Writing goes beside each box. Okay, so
Yeah.
let me draw it out for you.
Like when you have like the
Okay,
you know,
so
like
you
the
have
newspaper, like the newspaper,
image.
you have like a picture and the text go all around the picture
Okay,
and wraps underneath and keeps going. You know what I mean?
so you want the text here, or you want it just like all over?
All over. In this
Why
case,
would you want it all over?
no, like not all over. Like if you have like the picture in the left, so you
Uh-huh.
have like the first paragraph start at the
Mhm.
top of the picture, following and the wrapping underneath. I mean, but if you have columns, I can't like get two pictures one side beside to another, and the text going like next to the picture and next to the second column on the second picture. I don't know if you understand what it says.
So I think you mean like this. The image is sort of like that, right? And then it just goes over. So
Exactly.
we have web
You have
page
like
here.
a
So we
second
have picture here, and then it just goes like
exactly.
that, like sort of like that. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, and then if you have another picture
You just
on the
put the
left
picture here. Just put the picture inside the paragraph.
inside the paragraph, and then
Yeah, that's
everything
all you
should.
need to do. Okay. I mean, you should experiment with it. It's not that easy. It's, it'll still like do a couple of weird things, but yeah, just put the picture inside of the paragraph, and that's really the solution. Because if this is a paragraph, all
Uh-huh.
you are doing is putting a picture inside of it, right?
And yeah.
hmm Finish. That's really the solution.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Okay. So I'm going to not do what I was doing earlier. 1, 2, 3. Okay, and then okay. Now let's look at what time? 7:30. Okay. Now let's look at the item properties. Okay. So let's understand how things get how things actually start to become responsive. Okay. All right. So we have box 1, and we have box 1, and then we have box 1. So they are all inside one class called box, right? What you can also do next is, like, if you want to make it an individual, so you have, it's inside of one class, but you want to also be able to use it individually, you can give it another class inside of the class. So what you can do is just do 1, okay, 2, and then 3, right? So these all become individual classes. Okay, so what I am saying is, and let's make this width is 10%. Actually, no. Okay. So what we want to do is we want to be able to individually control all of these boxes. So 1, 2, and 3, right? So what you can do is you can do 1. For 1, I want the for 2 and 3, gray color boxes are fine. But for 1, for box 1, I want to change the box color to green. So you can do background dash color green. Okay, so it just becomes an individual box. All right, now I also want to do a width of 250 pixels. Okay, so this is 250 pixels. Okay, just by standard. These are because of the padding. Actually, we don't need the padding. These are just barely to the size of this. That's the only reason why. All right, let's do the same thing for 2 and 3 as well. Oops. So for number 2, I want to do pink, and then for this one, gray is just fine. Oh no, sorry. No. So you can see here, they're all 250 pixels, 250 pixels, and 250 pixels, right? So I was telling you earlier, width and flex basis mean the same thing, so we can just do, now width is fine over here, right? But we need to, sorry, if I want to use Flexbox in here, I have to do, should I? Anyways, I'm just going to do it. Display flex. Flex basis is 250 pixels. And width and flex basis are the same thing, like I said. Okay, so no changes here, right? Basically, it means the same thing here. Now, what this means is, okay, this is 250 pixels, right? But because Flexbox, if the screen size is less than 250 pixels, or like if it gets squished, we can sort of, it can just adjust. Oh, we're gonna have it at a wrap, no wrap. I want it at no wrap. Okay, so it can just get squished. Okay, and why it is stopping here is because for whatever reason, my Mac does not allow me to go below 500 pixels. Okay, so I cannot go any lower than 500 pixels, but if you try to squish it, it just gets squished. But ideally, it wants to be 250 pixels. Okay. Now, one thing, so that is flex basis. Flex basis and flex width are, width are the same thing. All right, so that's what we need to learn. Oh, we can just do display flex here. Yeah. So because this is also a container and it just works with all of them. So now the second part was flex grow, right? So we know that this is 250 pixels, this is 250 pixels, and then this is 250 pixels, and there is nothing over here, right? What if I want to utilize this space with box 3? Okay, what I can do is, there is enough space to go around, right? So what I can do is, I can use flex grow, and then it will just occupy after the 250 pixels. So after box 1 and box 2 take 250 pixels, and the remaining space, 750 pixels, I think. No, 500 pixels, because no, this is only height. Anyways, whatever it is, I can do flex grow, and then just 1, and then what's going to happen is this box, so it will give you 250 pixels here, 250 pixels here, and then 250 pixels here, right? But there is enough space here, and I just want to grow it full size. So if I do that, so it just takes up all of the space. That is what flex grow does. Okay, it just takes up all of the space. After whatever remaining space we have, it just takes all of it up. Okay. uh, okay, then we have flex shrink, and flex shrink is nothing like this. Okay, so if we don't have flex grow and we have flex shrink, it doesn't really do anything. So it doesn't really do anything. It doesn't expand like it did. But what does happen is, I was telling you, it can, it's the speed of what it grows at and what it shrinks at. Okay, so if I do 5 times, if I do flex shrink 5, what's going to happen is this box, the speed at which it becomes small is 5 times faster than compared to these 2 boxes. Okay, so you might not be able to see it here, but it's just faster. Maybe if we do flex grow. Sorry. Yeah, so it just shrinks faster, way faster. So you can see how fast it just shrinks, just gone. All right, so that is what flex grow and where flex shrink are. Okay, so that is how you have responsive sites. All right, so it just changes based on all of these designs here. Okay, all right, you guys want a quick break? We have more to go over.
Sounds good.
I can just continue.
Okay,
Yeah,
actually I need a break.
well, let's take a break. That's
Yeah.
fine. That's fine. That's fine.
Yeah, give me a couple of minutes. All right.
That's fine. That's fine.
All right, so let's move back, and this is the final topic for the night. Um, Media queries. Okay. Uh, so pay attention because this part here is going to be what you are using for your next assignment. Okay, this is the part that becomes the challenge. So what are media queries? Media queries is a CSS technique that is used when making adaptive web design. All right. What it does is it allows us to create conditional breakpoints based on the viewport sizes of devices. And I will explain all of this. Meaning, with the use of media query, we can make the same site have multiple designs based on the type or the size of the screen that it is being viewed on. So you don't need to make like different sites, right? So we looked at that with apple.com, you know. So what happened here was, because of media query, it just said, okay, if the size is like smaller than this, just this is how it should be displayed. Okay, that's basically what a media query does. It just like gives you the freedom to say, okay, instead of you just going to the smallest version possible, if the screen size is um, bigger than this or smaller than this, just show it this way instead. Okay, I don't want you to just make everything small. I want you to change the design. So this is all one website, right? But it has like a different sort of interface after it becomes a smaller size. And that is made possible with media queries. Okay. So first thing you need to understand is what is a viewport. Okay. So, um, you know, every screen has a size, right? Every screen has a size of what and how much you can look at, and they are measured in pixels, right? So, for example, so I am using an external monitor, right? And my external monitor is 1920 by 964 pixels. So 1920 from left to right and 964 from top to bottom, right? As I make this smaller, it just changes in size, right? So let's imagine this is my screen, right? Maybe one of you is watching in a 17-inch laptop, right? Something 1299, that's your screen size. And then someone is watching in a 15-inch laptop, that's your screen size. Then someone is watching on a 13-inch laptop, that's their screen size. Someone is watching on an iPad, this is probably what their size is. It's actually like this much. So this is the size of an iPad. And then then around here is like the big iPhones, like the iPhone Max and whatnot. And then smaller than smaller than this. Actually, it goes smaller than this. So that becomes your phone screen size. So again, I cannot go smaller than this because MacBook is not allowing me to do that, right? So that is what a viewport is, right? So we just need to know the standards, and you can just look at what your screen size is too. If so, I was looking at it on my phone. Where's my phone? So if I go to that same website, whatismyviewport.com, I can see that my screen size is 432 by 689 pixels. So that is the size of my screen, which means this display is bigger, right? So my phone is smaller than this. Like the minimum for this is this one. The maximum for my phone is smaller than this value. That's just basically what it means, right? So so where am I going with this? So you need to understand when people view websites in different devices. Not everybody has the same size of device. Not every brand makes the same size of thing, and we have to find this neutral point of where things need to be changed, right? So let's just understand these are standard uh, sizes. Okay, so what happens is small devices such as phones might have a maximum width of 576 pixels. So if it needs to be, if the website needs to be viewed on a phone, you need to be able to tell the computer, okay, what is a phone? What is the screen size of a phone, right? You need to be able to tell a website what is a phone, because websites don't understand that. So you have to be able to tell it. And therefore you have media queries. So what you would say is, okay, if my website is being viewed on a phone, and what is a phone? A phone is anything that has a maximum of 576 pixels, then show it this way. Okay, and then we have we have medium size, your iPads, whatnot, which has a maximum width of 768 pixels. So okay, what if your website is being viewed on an iPad, right? So how does the computer distinguish? So what you do here is, so yeah, max width of uh, 776 pixels. So from 0 to 576 pixels is a phone. Okay, however, we need to be able to distinguish between these two. So it would be minimum width for a tablet would be 577 pixels, right? So if the screen size falls in this range, then show it this way. Okay, that's basically what a media query does. All right, and then we have our large devices such as laptops and stuff like that. So anything, so max width for a tablet is 768 pixels. So anything below 768, it displays in a certain way. Okay, but now we need to say, okay, what if people are viewing on a computer, and computers have different sizes, different screens. So what we have to say is, okay, a computer, at this point, usually we just design a website, right? You don't even need to define anything. You just need to define for cell phone and for tablet. And for tablet, usually people don't do that anymore. It's just for cell phone and for computers. So, but if you are to define, it becomes the minimum it can go is 769. Anything below 769 is just displayed in this way. Anything that is above 769 is displayed in a certain way. Okay, are you guys kind of getting it?
I don't really understand. I mean, so basically in each page we have to put that kind of setting in order.
No, not in each page. I mean, sort of, yeah, in each page. It depends on how big your computer, your code is. It's just like you don't need to change the whole format. You just need to change a couple of things. Okay. I think it'll make more sense once I start doing showing you how it works.
Exactly, when you start to put the code in the page.
Yeah. One thing you need to understand with media query is it works with minimum and maximum width. All right. So when working with media queries, the best way to achieve goal would be to work with the width of the screen. So you need to tell, so a computer does not understand what a phone is or what a tablet is or whatever it is. So how do you tell it is a computer is, it's a phone is, you tell it anything below 576 pixels is a phone. It just automatically becomes a phone. Just simple concept. That's all you need to tell, right? Anything bigger than 576 pixels is laptop, computer, tablet. That's all they need to know. They don't have any idea about Samsung and whatnot. They just need to know what size it is, right? When
read the size of the screen.
What's that?
Basically, they just read the size of the screen.
Yeah, just read the size of the screen. That's basically what it is. So, and you have to define it. You have to tell it, right? So you can tell it in two different ways. You can use minimum width. Using minimum width tells the browser that that the screen must be, at least I should have written screen, must be at least of a certain viewpoint size to display in a certain way. And I don't recommend using minimum width, okay? Because it can get very confusing. What I recommend instead is using maximum width. What maximum width does is, like, the question was, what is a phone, right? So the phone is anything that has a maximum of 576 pixels. And that's it. It's finished. Like, there's no anything outside of that category is something else. We don't need to worry about that. We just need to know that the maximum a phone can design is 576 pixels, right? So that's basically it. So this is the way I would recommend. All right. So let's look at how we can do certain things here. Okay. Okay. The first thing you need to know how to use media query. Okay. A media query is written in this way. So it would be at media. All right. And then it's going to be bracket, and then it will be max width equals, 576 pixels, and then you put stuff here, and what this is saying is, and then you just start to use these things over here. All right. So again, let me say media. So max width 576 pixels. So that's how you do, and all of your commands need to be inside of here. So if we want to manipulate box, so it would be box, and then just put. So this is a separate thing. You don't touch with this one. All right. So everything just goes inside of here. So let's understand this a little bit better. Okay. So right now we have a website, right? And we have 3 boxes. They are all 500 by 500 pixels, right? So 500 by 500, 500 by 500, 500 by 500, right? So what I want to do is, so if I look at this on the phone, it's going to look like this, right? It's going to get all squished up. What I want to do is, when I want to look at a phone, when I want to look at this website on a phone, I want it to go down and down. All right. So what I will do is, first of all, I need to define what a phone is, right? So we have to do media query. So what is a phone? Max width is 576 pixels, right? And then now we can change things accordingly. Okay, so if the device has a maximum width of 576 pixels, do this instead of, so for container, what you will do is you will do, so if let's try to make this a little weird. Okay, if the display is less than, less than 576 pixels, let's change the background color of the container. Okay, so background, oh, sorry, container. And then what I want to do is I want to change the background color to light blue. Okay. And then I want to display flex, but I want to do flex. I want it to go to the next line, right? Flex flow. Flex flow is, I'll keep it at row, and then I will start to wrap it. Okay. All right, so let's see what happens. And then let's just do height auto. Okay. Okay, so this is what the screen size is, right? So I said if the maximum width is 576 pixels, then change it. So 576. Okay. Let's see what happens. So right now I have it at 577, right? So it doesn't change. But if I go to 576 pixels, then things should just change. Okay, so that is, so basically, okay, I'm looking at it in a computer, but I want the screen size is just changing, and then that's basically what I want it to look like. So anything, if the screen size is lower than 576 pixels, you just change something else. All right, let's do a little more things here.
So there are no situations where you would define screen size for like a specific phone, right?
What's that?
We don't need to define like screen size of specific phones, right?
No,
Unless it's like
no.
an iPhone only app or something.
No, no, nowadays you wouldn't have to do that. It's just a standard, so like a maximum size of an iPhone Max or whatever, I don't even know these days.
Mhm.
That this is probably the size of it.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
So
Right.
basically, even the biggest phone can view it in mobile version or whatever you want to call it, right? And then anything bigger than that becomes the desktop version or just the standard version in itself. Okay, that is what I meant by you don't really need to define the large sizes, because like how many devices are you actually going to use, right? So that's
Yeah,
basically
makes
it.
sense.
Yeah. All right. So okay, so we did that, right? So anything below 576 pixels, it just changes automatically, right? Let's do more stuff. Be careful about the bracket, okay? Because this has to have a bracket, and you see, if you don't put it within a bracket, it doesn't accept the command. So you need to make sure that the curly brackets are there. Okay, so let's change a couple more things. If it becomes less than 576 pixels, let's change this color to, I don't know, orange, or like actually the gray box to orange. Okay, so box 3, right? So again, let's copy this. Right. And then you do 3. Um, background color would be orange. Right. So let's see if this works. So yeah. So you can see what's going on, right? So as soon as it hits the point, then it just does whatever it needs to do. Now, in the real world, you don't really change colors and stuff like that. You just start to resize your content, right? You just like, maybe you don't want it to like fully shrink. So you just change the flow of things, right? You just, instead of now going side by side, you just stack it on top of another, which is usually what the standard thing to do is. So same thing what we talked about here, right? So look at these 4 pictures. They are all, not 4, 6 pictures actually. So they are all side by side over here, right? Once it hits like a certain point, they will just get stacked on top of each other. So that is the real world thing here, right? Okay. I think I pretty much covered all of it. So what I want to talk about now is the assignment for this class, or for this project. So based on everything I taught you today, okay. So based on everything I taught you today, your job is to make me 2 sites, or not 2 sites. You need to use media query to make 2 forms of designs, right? So you can start out with making a desktop site and I want just the boxes. I don't want any content or anything like that. So you can see here, I work with just boxes, right? I just work with boxes. So basically you can just also, what you see here is what I want. Okay. So what should happen is when I shrink it down, when I shrink down the website, things should start to look like this. So instead, like this will just shrink, and then this starts to adapt. So instead of this becoming like a tiny thing, what you can do, what I want to happen is for it to just stack down, down like that, and then this one also stack down, and then and so on. So basically, this is what the desktop site should look like, and this is what the mobile site should look like, right? So using a variety of boxes and container level elements and Flexbox, create a responsive, remember I said responsive means like it interacts with the size of the browser. So if I stretch it, it should stretch. If I shrink it, it should shrink. That is what a responsive site is, right? Create a responsive desktop site similar to the one you see in the image, which is right here. Now, using media queries, transform the same desktop website into a mobile version as you see in the image. So when I shrink it down, it should start to resemble this thing, or it should look like that, basically. All right. So what is a mobile site? Anything with a maximum width of 500. Sorry. Oh, sorry. What is a mobile site? Anything with a maximum width of 576 pixels is a mobile site, right? Which is viewed on your cell phone, your mobile, right? So once it hits that point, it should change to whatever this is. Okay. What is a desktop site? Desktop site is, the minimum width is, so whatever we finish up with this number here, we just change it. Minimum width is 577, and then maximum width is unlimited, million, whatever you want, however large you can make it, right? So those are what I would like you to do. Questions?
Yes. Are you gonna upload this class to Moodle, or do we have to email you?
Just email me. So the problem with Moodle is like, so when, I cannot just start grading them, and then CSI will contact me, oh, why aren't your assignments graded and stuff like that, because the only way to give grades in this class is through the use of MindTap, and we are not doing any MindTap assignments, at least not right now, right? So we have to find some way of grading it. So if you just email me, I will keep a record of what you sent, and I will just start giving you automatically grades on MindTap. Okay.
Yeah. Sorry, I meant the recording for the class.
Oh, the recording, just link YouTube. I'll probably email you, or I don't know, usually put it on WhatsApp group. So
Okay.
what do you think is easiest?
I don't know. I think if you email it, it's better because I will watch it in my computer, so you can email all the class. So whoever needs it can use it.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
that would be
the
nice.
first assignment I uploaded in the extra credit. Should I email that to you instead?
Yeah. Do that as well. Okay. So email it to me as well, if you don't mind.
Excuse me, for this assignment, is there any specific sizes for the boxes on the desktop side?
Not really. No, you can just make it whatever you feel like.
Okay, thank you.
So Everybody knows how to make boxes, right?
Just a div, right?
Yeah, it's just a div. That's
Yeah.
it. And then you just give the div
A
a
title.
size. Yeah, a size. That's basically it. Height and width. Height and width. That's really it. And it doesn't have to be exactly like this, but try to sort of make it kind of like this as much as possible, right? Um, you know, not everybody's going to have the same measurement here and the same measurement here or like here, but try to make it as much as possible with these ones. Let me just do a quick. Let me just give you a quick understanding of how you should be working. Okay, this is a container level element. Okay, so the gray part. You can either make it body, but instead of body, I would put it into another div. Okay. Now, what I would say is these two are another container level element. So you should combine these two. You can put margin here, or you can make them separate. It's up to you, right? Now this part here is another container level element. Okay, so we have another container here, another container here, and then last container here. So remember, it's a box inside of a box. Okay, inside of a box. So make sure to understand what and where things are going. Okay, is that clear to everybody?
Not really to me.
Or you could just email your questions, and I would be more than happy to answer.
Okay.
The problem is you say you don't understand, and then you never ask the questions. So
No, it's
man.
because I don't want to bother you. I don't want to break your
No.
explanation. Try to.
No.
It's
That's
hard
why we can always talk after the lecture, or you just email me, Rodrigo. I will be more than happy to answer. It's my job to do it.
When you show me in your codes,
Mm-hmm.
So if I stand and stare like for like a few minutes and
Mm-hmm.
see what's the outcome looks like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm able to define like where is like box one, and then I kind of like get on track, like
Mm-hmm.
understanding as I go. But just like by visualize like the visual part and make up my mind for the codes, it doesn't work. My brain doesn't go that far. You know what I mean? It's like an old horse that you can only push so much. If you push too far, the horse is gonna die, teacher. I'm sorry.
Okay. No, I will try to send you like other tutorials for you to understand.
Guidelines or something.
Other guidelines. But yeah, if you don't understand, just email me your questions, and we can like meet up at a different time, and I would be more than happy to teach you on the side. Okay.
Okay, that was good. Thank you.
Okay. All right. I am sort of excited to see this one from you guys. This is where it all comes down to. What did you learn in DM 120 plus this little bit of lesson that I taught you? That is basically what it all piles up to with this assignment. So this can really make or break you, right? This is doing this assignment is will sort of separate out if you are really interested in the field of design, in the field of coding, versus like if you're just taking this for whatever reasons you might have, right? I hope everybody's able to accomplish it. I would be more than happy to help you out here and there, but the main objective is that you manage to do these things by yourself. Because if you are serious about having a career, this is nothing. You're going to have to solve so many different kinds of problems. These are easy assignments. Easy assignments. Real world is never this easy. Okay. Questions?
No questions.